I want you to picture a woman named Diane. Diane is 58 years old. She is a retired school administrator, a woman who spent 30 years managing complex budgets, navigating faculty politics, and raising 2 successful children largely on her own after her first husband passed away. She is intelligent, she is grounded, and she is financially secure. If you met her at a dinner party, you would see a woman who is completely in control of her life. But 6 months ago, I sat across from Diane in my clinical office, and she looked at me with eyes that were hollowed out by sleeplessness and confusion. And she said something that I have never forgotten. She said, "I didn't lose my heart to him. I lost my reality. I feel like I have been surgically dismantled, piece by piece, and I don't even know who held the scalpel." Diane had fallen in love with a man who seemed to be the answer to every silent prayer she had never spoken aloud. He was charming, he was attentive, and he was dangerously, pathologically narcissistic. Within 1 year, Diane had lost a significant portion of her retirement savings. She was estranged from her daughter who had tried to warn her, and she was on medication for severe anxiety. The tragedy here is not just that Diane had a bad relationship. The tragedy is that Diane is representative of a massive, silent epidemic. We often talk about young women falling for bad boys, but the truth, the shocking truth that society ignores, is that women over 50 are currently the primary targets for a specific breed of predatory narcissist. And the damage done in the second half of life is often far more catastrophic than the damage done in the first. I am speaking to you today not just as a casual observer, but from over 20 years of clinical practice specializing in female psychology and relationship dynamics. I have worked with hundreds of women who are intelligent, accomplished, and deeply empathetic, yet who find themselves trapped in psychological webs that are invisible to the outside world until it is too late. There is a misconception that wisdom comes automatically with age, and that by the time a woman reaches 50, she is immune to the games of a manipulator. The reality is the exact opposite. There are specific biological, psychological, and sociological factors that make women over 50 the perfect storm for a narcissist. Dangerous topic. It is a taboo topic because it forces us to look at the vulnerabilities of women we admire. But we have to talk about it. This is because the cost is not just a broken heart. It is financial ruin, the destruction of family legacies, and the erosion of your physical health. Before we go any further, I am going to ask you to do something that might act as a shield for someone you love. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps push this information out to the women who need it most, perhaps a mother, a sister, or a friend who is currently isolated in one of these relationships. And I want you to make sure you stay with me until the very end of this video. In the final minutes, I am going to give you a specific set of diagnostic questions, a litmus test, that will reveal if the person sleeping next to you is a partner or a predator. These questions are uncomfortable, but they might just save your life. The first danger we need to discuss is what I call the drought of validation. To understand why a woman over 50 falls for a narcissist, you have to understand the cultural context in which she is living. We live in a society that fetishizes youth. As a woman crosses the threshold of 50, she often begins to experience a phenomenon known as the invisible woman syndrome. She walks into a room and heads do not turn the way they used to. She may be overlooked at work for younger candidates. Her children are grown and no longer need her constant, hands-on nurturing. There is a quiet, creeping sensation of becoming a ghost in one's own life. Enter the narcissist. The narcissist does not see an older woman. He sees a target who is starved for attention. When he targets a woman over 50, He engages in a form of love bombing that is far more sophisticated than what we see with younger couples. He doesn't just tell her she is beautiful. He tells her she is seen. He focuses a laser beam of intensity on her that feels like the sun coming out after a long, cold winter. I remember a client. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah had been divorced for 10 years. She was used to being the reliable one, the matriarch who took care of everyone else. Then she met Robert. Robert didn't just date her. He studied her. He told her, "I don't understand how other men haven't worshipped you. They looked at you, but they didn't see the depth of your soul." For a woman who has felt invisible for a decade, this is not just flattery. It is oxygen. It is a powerful, addictive drug. The narcissist exploits the drought of validation by flooding the woman with the very water she has been craving. But the water is poisoned. He is not validating her because he cherishes her. He is validating her to lower her defenses so he can enter her life and extract her resources. The psychological hook here is that the woman believes, "Finally, someone gets me." She attributes his intensity to a deep soul connection, rather than recognizing it as a predatory grooming tactic. The danger is that because she feels seen for the first time in years, she becomes terrified of losing that visibility. She will tolerate red flags, subtle and boundary violations just to keep that spotlight turned on. Here is the concrete rule you must remember for this danger. If the attention feels like a spotlight that is blinding you rather than a warm light that comforts you, check who is holding it. True love is a fireplace. Narcissistic love is an arsonist with a match. The second danger is even more subtle and devastating, and it involves what I call the mirroring of the unlived life. By the time a woman reaches 50 or 60, she has made choices. She has chosen a career, perhaps raised a family, and followed a certain path. But, inevitably, there are paths she did not take. There are dreams she shelved. There is a shadow self that yearns for adventure, or spirituality, or artistic expression that she never got to explore. A skilled narcissist is a master mimic. He will intuitively sense these unlived parts of your life, and he will mirror them back to you. If you always regretted not traveling more, suddenly he is a world traveler who wants to show you Paris. If you always wished you had a partner who was spiritually deep, suddenly he is quoting Rumi and talking about soul ties. He morphs into the avatar of your unfulfilled potential. I worked with a woman named Alina, a 60-year-old accountant who was extremely practical and logical. She met a man who claimed to be a misunderstood artist. He wasn't successful, but he was passionate. Alina had always secretly wanted to live a bohemian life, but she had been too responsible to do it. This man represented her unlived fantasy. He mirrored her desire for freedom. He told her, "You've been a slave to the system for too long, Alina. It's time for you to fly." It sounds romantic, doesn't it? But it was a trap. He used her desire for freedom to dismantle her financial security. He convinced her that her caution was fear, and that her savings were chains. Because she wanted to believe in the fantasy he was presenting, she handed over the keys to her reality. She funded his art, which never existed. She paid for the trips. She bought the bohemian lifestyle. And he was just a squatter in the dream she was paying for. The narcissist in this stage is not offering you a partnership. He is offering you a hallucination of the life you think you missed. He weaponizes your regrets against you. He makes you feel that he is the key to unlocking the real you before it's too late. This creates a powerful bond, where the woman feels that losing the man means losing her last chance at living her dreams. The concrete rule for this trap is this: shared dreams are not the same as shared character. Just because someone holds up a mirror to your desires does not mean they have the capacity to build a life with you. A mirror has no depth. It only reflects what you put in front of it. And there is a third danger. One that is perhaps the most painful to discuss because it exploits the very best traits of women in this demographic. This is the nurse with a purse complex. We must look at the generational conditioning of women currently over 50. Many of you were raised with the implicit belief that a woman's worth is tied to her ability to nurture, to fix, and to endure. You were raised to stand by your man. You were taught that love requires sacrifice. Narcissists are parasites, and parasites look for the most robust hosts. A woman over 50 often has two things that make her the ultimate host. She has high empathy, and she has resources. She has a home, a 401k, a pension, and a lifetime of developing patience. The narcissist presents himself not as a villain, but as a victim. This is crucial to understand. He will not come to you acting like a monster. He will come to you acting like a wounded bird. He will tell you stories about his crazy ex-wife who took everything. He will talk about the bad business partners who cheated him. He will spin a narrative of a man who is brilliant and kind but has just had a run of terrible luck. And he is waiting for a good woman, a strong woman, like you, to help him get back on his feet. This triggers the rescuer instinct. I have seen incredibly smart women liquidate assets to pay off a new boyfriend's tax debt because he just needs a fresh start. I have seen women allow a man to move into their home rent-free within 2 months because he's going through a hard transition. The woman feels noble. She feels needed. The narcissist feeds her ego by telling her, "You are the only one who understands me. You are the only one strong enough to handle this." But the bad luck never ends. The crises are manufactured. The crazy ex-wife was actually a victim who escaped him. The financial ruin is a result of his own irresponsibility or fraud. By the time the woman realizes she is being bled dry, she has already invested so much emotional and financial capital that she falls into the sunk cost fallacy. She thinks, "I've given so much, I can't stop now," or "it was all for nothing." Here is the concrete rule for this pattern. You cannot love a man into mental health, and you cannot pay a man into integrity. If his life is a series of tragedies where he is always the victim, you are not the hero of the story. You are the next casualty. The fourth danger is specific to the perception of time. I call this the hourglass panic. When you are 20, you feel you have all the time in the world to date, to make mistakes, to start over. When you are 55 or 65, there is a very real, existential awareness of the clock ticking. The narcissist senses this anxiety. He weaponizes the fear of dying alone. He introduces the concept of accelerated intimacy. He will say things like, "We don't have time to play games. At our age, we know what we want. Why wait?" He pushes for immediate commitment. He wants to move in, get married, or combine finances within weeks or months. He frames this haste as romance and certainty. He tells you that waiting is for children, but seizing the moment is for adults. This speed is designed to bypass your logical brain. It is designed to get him entrenched in your home and your legal life before the mask slips. I once counseled a woman who married a man for months after meeting him. He was charming, he was 62, and he seemed perfect. She said, "I don't want to waste the good years I have left." 2 weeks after the wedding, the criticism started, then the isolation, but now, untangling him required lawyers, forensic accountants, and a humiliation that was public and devastating. He knew that once he had the ring on her finger, the shame of a second or third divorce would keep her silent for a long time. He uses your fear of a lonely future to rob you of your peaceful present. He makes you feel that he is your last chance for happiness. The concrete rule here is vital. True intimacy is built on time and observation, not intensity. If someone is rushing you, they are hiding something. A healthy partner respects the pace of your trust. Now, we must zoom out and look at the broader escalation of these relationships. The danger is not just that you have a difficult partner, the danger is the systematic dismantling of your support system. This is the fifth danger, the amputation of the jury. In a healthy relationship, your partner wants to know your friends and your children. In a narcissistic relationship with an older woman, the partner views her adult children and her long-term friends as the jury. They are the ones who will spot the inconsistencies. They are the ones who will say, "Mum, why is he driving your car?" Or "Diane, why does he never pay for dinner?" To protect himself, the narcissist begins a campaign to isolate you. But he doesn't do it by banning you from seeing them. That would be too obvious. He does it by playing the victim and planting seeds of paranoia. He will say, "Your daughter doesn't want you to be happy. She wants your inheritance. She's jealous that you've found love." He will say, "Your friends are single and bitter. They can't stand to see us this happy." He creates an us against the world dynamic. I have seen mothers who were best friends with their children stop speaking to them for years because the narcissist convinced the mother that the poor children were the enemy. This is the ultimate tragedy. He isolates you so that when he begins the abuse, the verbal assaults, the gaslighting, the financial theft, you have no one to turn to. You are on an island with your captor. And let us talk about the physical toll. The body of a woman over 50 does not bounce back from cortisol spikes the way a 20-year-old body does. Living with a narcissist means living in a state of chronic fight or flight. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for threats. This leads to severe insomnia, autoimmune flare-ups, high blood pressure, and cardiac issues. I have seen women whose physical health collapsed completely within 2 years of meeting a narcissist. The emotional toxicity manifests as physical disease. It is literally heartbreaking. Furthermore, we must address the emotional legacy. You have spent decades building your identity. You are a mother, a professional, a grandmother, a friend. You have a reputation. A narcissist can torch that reputation in months. He can drag you into legal battles. He can cause scenes that embarrass you in your community. And he can leave you feeling like a foolish, broken shell of the woman you used to be. The shame of falling for it at this age is a heavy burden. It keeps women silent. It keeps them from asking for help because they think, "I should have known better." But I am here to tell you that there is a way out, and more importantly, there is a healthy alternative. We need to completely reframe what love looks like after 50. The antidote to the narcissistic trap is to embrace a model of love that values autonomy over merger. In your youth, love was often about merging lives, building a home, raising kids, combining bank accounts. But at this stage of life, you are already built. You are a cathedral, fully constructed. You do not need another architect. You need a visitor who respects the architecture. Healthy love for women over 50 often looks like living apart together. It looks like maintaining your own home, your own finances, and your own circle of friends, while sharing companionship, intimacy, and travel with a partner. A healthy man will not be threatened by your independence. He will be relieved by it. He will not want to rush into your house. He will be proud of his own. He will not ask for a loan. He will want to treat you to dinner. I want to tell you about a different client. Joyce escaped a narcissistic relationship and took 2 years to heal. Then she met a man named Arthur. On their third date, Arthur said, "Joyce, I have my life, and you have yours. I would love to walk beside you, but I never want to stand in your way." They have been together for 5 years. They don't live together. They don't share a bank account, but they share a deep, respectful love. That is the gold standard. So, How do you know? How do you know if you are sitting across from an author or a predator? I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to ask yourself these diagnostic questions. Be honest, the truth may hurt, but it will heal. Question 1. Do you feel calmer when he is away, or when he is with you? If your body relaxes when he leaves the room, your nervous system is trying to tell you that he is a threat. Question 2. Has he created a crisis that required your money within the first 6 months of knowing him? Healthy, stable men over 50 do not need your money to solve their problems. Question 3. Does he encourage your relationships with your children and friends, or does he subtly criticize them and make you feel guilty for spending time with them? Question 4. Are you afraid to disagree with him? Do you find yourself walking on eggshells or rehearsing what you are going to say so you don't set him off? Question 5. Does the relationship feel like a roller coaster? Are the highs incredibly high and the lows devastatingly low? Healthy love at this age should feel like a calm river, not a stormy ocean. Question 6. Is there a discrepancy between his words and his actions? Does he talk about his vast wealth but forget his wallet? Does he talk about his integrity but lie to waitstaff or business partners? Question 7. Do you feel like you are competing for his attention? Does he make you jealous of other women, or even his exes, to keep you insecure? If you answered yes to even a few of these, you are likely in the presence of a narcissist. I want to close with this. Your capacity to love is not a weakness. It is your greatest strength. But at this stage of your life, that love must be guarded by the wisdom you have earned. You are not a rehabilitation center for broken men. You are not a bank for reckless men. And you are not a mirror for vain men. You are a woman of substance. You have survived loss. You have built a life, and you have a legacy that deserves to be protected. Do not let the fear of being alone drive you into the arms of someone who will make you feel lonelier than you ever thought possible. Being alone is peaceful. Being with a narcissist is a war zone. You have the power to choose peace. You have the right to demand respect. And you have the wisdom to know the difference. Trust your gut. It has gotten you this far. Listen to it,